I'm Phil Svitek, 360 Creative Coach, and in this episode, I really want to talk about why the notion of it's too late to start something is BS. And I mean in the realm of, like, let's say, right now a lot of people are talking about it in terms of TikTok, of like, TikTok is oversaturated, or perhaps YouTube or podcasting, whatever it may be, right? And why just that notion in general is just complete BS, right? But before I fully dive into it, I would like to take the opportunity to invite you to subscribe if you haven't already. That way you get all the various lessons and episodes that I put out right when I put them out. Thank you if you just did, and thank you if you already were. It truly does mean a lot to me, as I hope it does to you. So let's get into this. First off, my core notion of like how I started thinking about this was the idea of, it's as if someone said like, oh, well, I shouldn't make a movie because a movie's been made, right? Of course that's BS. Of course movies are being made, whether you're making them or not, right? Someone else is going to be doing it. And the same thing applies in this realm of whatever social media platform it is, or just artistic medium in general, it's available to you. And, one of the big things of why I know this to be true is that the messenger is equally as important as the message, right? And so, even though in a lot of ways, like you can look at Stoicism, and Stoicism is an ancient philosophy, and yet there's still authors able to write about it and grab new audience, right? Well, because they're putting it through a different lens, they're contextualizing it in today's day and age and so forth, and able to relate to readers in that way, right? And that's what great art is. Of course, there's new perspectives and things like that, but if we accept the idea that there's only so many stories to be told and so forth, well, that's fine, because at the end of the day, again, it's just contextualizing differently and from your own perspective that adds that brilliance. But, regardless of what it is, creatively, or again, the thing that you're unwilling to start, whether it's a podcast, whether, a YouTube channel, a TikTok, whatever, because like, quote unquote, it's already saturated. It just kind of speaks to this idea that in general, we just try to ride the trend and get the benefit of it versus actually enjoying the process. And artistically speaking, that's never going to work out for you, right? One of the prime examples right now is Kate Bush, right? Kate Bush, Running Up That Hill, that song came out pretty much 40 years ago, right? And now it just hit back up on, Apple charts and so forth because of Stranger Things. And it's like, no one could have predicted that. She certainly couldn't have predicted that. And so we don't necessarily know how what we create will take shape within the world. All we can really do is put our best foot forward. And so by saying like, oh, it's too late to start, what you're sort of admitting to is this idea that it was all about the end goal, the end result, but not really about caring for the artistic side of it. Right? And so we have to change that up. And it is never really too late to start any of these things. For forever, people have been saying like books are a dying medium, or the radio, or whatever. And it's like, no, there's still audiences for those things. It might not be as great as it used to be, let's say, but certainly there are, I'm being one of them, very interested in books and love that format. So it's never too late to start with anything, right? That's kind of another notion of being first only matters when it actually matters. So if you're running in the Olympics, the 100-meter race, then being first matters, right? But being the first to learn to read out of like, let's say your peer group, you know, assuming that we're back at like being, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, that doesn't really matter, because what matters is, did everyone else learn to read? Right? So being first doesn't really matter unless it actually matters. And so that connects to this, because it isn't too late to start. Just because other people have done it and done it well doesn't preclude you from being able to do just the same. So get rid of that thought that it's too late to start. It's never too late to start. Just start. Okay? Just start. Whatever it is that you have a passion for, just start. It's as simple as that. So I hope that helps you. As always, if you have any questions or thoughts of your own, please comment down below or hit me up on social media at Svitek. Likewise, if you appreciate what I do and think you would benefit from more direct interaction, well, there is my coaching. But if that's too steep of a price, there's, of course, my Patreon, patreon.com/PhilSvitek. Through the various tiers, we can interact and I can provide feedback and be able to help that way. Likewise, if you just appreciate what I do, another way to support me is by purchasing, you know, my books, my movies, or the merchandise, like the one I'm sporting on the video version of this. You know, all of that stuff helps because, you know, but for me, by being able to create that, I learn the various lessons that I then get to share here with you. It's a very symbiotic relationship in that way. And so supporting that stuff, again, keeps it all cyclical, keeps the train going on its tracks, just to add another metaphor. But thank you so much. I appreciate you and hope to see you next time.